Good morning.
Good morning.
What's your name?
My name is Daniel Crawford, and I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, in the United States of America. But I now live in Grecia, San Isidro.
And how long have you been here?
4 years.
4 years. Wow, time flies.
Yes, it does.
So, what brought you to Costa Rica?
Well, some friends of mine were in Costa Rica, and they said, "Hey, man, it's kind of a nice place to go," and so I came down for a visit. Excuse me, and looked around and kind of liked it. Pretty country, and so just decided I was a little tired of working and decided to retire and come and live here.
Nice.
So far, it's nice. There's some differences though. The cultural differences are, I kind of did it on a rather quick basis. I should have prepared myself more. I still can't speak Spanish, which is horrible. I live in a Spanish-speaking country, and I should be able to speak Spanish. So I'm starting now to study at least 2 hours a day. So I have to work hard on that to try to accomplish that. But it's a difficult language to learn, as is English.
Oh, it is, yeah. You just mentioned that you have seen some cultural differences. Would you mind, mentioning a couple of them?
I would say some of the cultural differences are in the United States. We're more fast-paced, more to the point. Sometimes if I ask someone a question, it's a question that could be a yes or no answer in the United States. Here, there's always a little story that goes with it. So it's kind of, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. So that's one of the cultural differences that I see.
And how does that make you feel? Like, when a tico is just, like you say, talking and talking and...
Well, I love the ticos because they're very friendly people. But sometimes if you're in a hurry, if you've got it at... Well, here usually, let me go back a little bit. Parties are supposed to start at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
I took my son to a party, 9 o'clock, ready for it, and it starts at 11 or 11:30.
2 hours later.
Or 2.5 hours later,
So
the little girl whose birthday it wasn't even there. And so those are little differences.
So how long do you Americans usually wait in that kind of situation?
Oh, for a child, a birthday party, normally if they say, come around 11, usually you get there 11:15, because usually there's the cake, the lunch, whatever. It's kind of timed out so that they can prepare things. But here it's kind of whenever.
And have you noticed that differences in time in some other situation besides parties, like school or appointments?
Well, yeah, schools, like in at least I'm not familiar with that many schools here, but if someone tells me that they're going to see me at 10:30, I expect 10:30. But a lot of times I come to pick up my son from school, and it's not 10:30. Sometimes it's 20 after 10, or sometimes it's 10:40. So it's the time it's only 10 minutes, but 10 minutes, you get a little worried if all of a sudden, okay, what's going on? Why aren't they here? And so it's there's some differences.
You also mentioned that you're now determined to learn Spanish. So I wonder how you do to communicate with Costa Rican people, or...
Well, unfortunately, and that was part of my problem, is my wife speaks Spanish.
Is she Costa Rican?
Costa Rican, and she also speaks English. Her English isn't excellent, but it's very good English. Whereas the 5-year-old, 6-year-old now, he is very bilingual, and so when I go to the bank or to the store, he is my interpreter. And it's horrible that I rely on him. And it's actually kind of comical because everybody...
And you said he's 5 years old?
He's 6 now. He just turned 6 in July. And so he is my interpreter.
Why do you say that's funny? Do people react or look at you? Or
well, no, but normally it would be the other way around. The adult is supposed to take care of the child. In this particular case, the child is taking care of the adult.
Wow, interesting.
It is.
Would you mind sharing a little bit of, like, how or where you met your wife. You said is Costa Rican, and
Well, actually, I put an ad in the on the radio station in Grecia and asked for someone just to help show me the town, because I just didn't speak any Spanish at that point in time, and just show me, different places in the town, and to help with like taking my car if it had to have service on it, to explain what the problem was, and then it just kind of grew from a friendship into us being together.
So, are there similarities between Americans and Costa Ricans that can bring people together, like in your case, that decided to start a family?
I think it's people all over the world are pretty much the same. It amazes me that with the 6-year-old, he's the same as a 6-year-old in the United States. So there's really, as far as development and how kids act and what they do at certain age stages, it's pretty much the same.
Oh, interesting. So what's a typical day for you here in Costa Rica?
Well, my typical day is usually get up about 4. That's when my wife gets up to go to work, and then get the little 6-year-old up at 6, so they start getting him ready for class at 7, and then he gets off at 10:30, and then the rest of the day is spent pretty much entertaining him.
Interesting. So after 4 years, what do you miss the most from the United States?
I think I just missed I think the convenience and the cost of goods in the United States. The grocery store is much, much less than here in Costa Rica. Clothing is much less. You go to buy a pair of shoes here.
I thought it was cheaper to live in Costa Rica.
Well, that's what I thought.
And it's not true.
It's not true.
Wow.
It's not true. It's the cost of living here is, if you look at it compared to wages paid in Costa Rica to the cost of goods, I scratch my head every day and try to figure out how a Costa Rican survives, because the cost of everything is so high.
Well, let me tell you, we have a hard time making ends meet.
So do I.
Is
the quality of the products, I think. I buy a pair of shoes for my son for 9,000 colones, $18, almost, or sometimes $20. 10,000 colones or $20 United States dollars, and they last 4 months. They're, the quality of some things and the money you have to pay for them the ratio is horrible. I mean, you should get a better product for $20, especially if the typical Costa Rican is earning $2 an hour. It takes a long time to pay for that $20 pair of shoes.
Yeah,
it's a day of work.
That's right. That's right. What would you say would be an important change to see in Costa Rican society in terms of how the local people treat expats?
I think as far as the local people, I think they treat expats very nicely. At least I've never, had no difficulties. So I really, because always for example, when I first came, I would go to the bank and try to explain my situation to someone, and somebody would be standing in line, they could speak English, and just volunteer to help. So, I think the Costa Ricans are a very friendly group of people.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Was very interesting.